Hi everyone. In this session, we are going to talk about Cisco Contact Center Express Editor, which is the programming tool, or you could say the design tool for the actual call flow. So your customer may give you a call flow in Excel format with step-by-step, outlined in maybe in a Word document or in Excel file and the real audio prompts. But in order to make that happen, make that work in contact center, you need a tool called Cisco Contact Center Express Editor. To download that, you need to go to Tools and Plugins. Over here, you'll have the very first option as Cisco Unified CCX Editor installer for Windows. Once you click it, it would start to download the actual file, which is around 123 MBs, and it's going to take a lot of time. Just to save on time, I've already downloaded it, uh, but I wanted to give you the feel that the file size is 123 MBs, and it's going to take some time. Since I already have it installed, I'm going to open my Contact Center Express Editor. The installation is pretty simple and straightforward. All you need to do is just double click the setup file, just like any other uh, Windows installer. So Contact Center Express Editor is installed. I've got a shortcut created here. So I'm just gonna click on log on anonymously. So that would be just the editor without logging to the server. So this editor without the username and password would act like a standalone editor, which is not making any changes or not uploading any script on the real server. Though it's also okay to log in with your username and password. That would be your administrator username and password. And if you would take a look at the bottom left corner, you would see the default would turn into the name of the server and name of the cluster, and anonymous over here would change into the actual user you you used to log in, maybe CCX admin or administrator, any name. The step and line are basically we're going to talk about when we actually start to build the script. Before that, I'll talk in brief about the four different panes that we see here. The left pane here is called the feature pane or the steps pane. Like I said, that Cisco Contact Center Express Editor allows you to deploy actual call flow into step-by-step procedure. So those steps can be found here, and based on the category, you could see all the options over the left pane here. So we will use pretty much a lot of the features in our next sessions, but this is where you basically drag and drop to uh, the the script pane here. So this one here is called the design area. So if I do file and new, it will give me an option basically to pull up a template Cisco already has created for IVR, wherein a basic auto attendant or queuing where calls are coming and being queued. They all are there based on caller's input and all. So for now, we are just going to start using blank script. So you would see that this particular field, this particular pane is called the designing area, where you actually start to build your call flow. Now, this pane here is called the variable pane, wherein you define, you create different type of variables. Uh, to talk about variables, there are a lot of uh, data type which you can use during the runtime of your call flow. So, for example, if the customer calls in, right, and the customer presses 1 or 2, you need to receive that input, and based on that, you need to play a prompt. So you'll need to create uh, a variable called prompt, right? So there would be a prompt type variable, so which is like it will be able to keep the audio file. So it's like a container in which your actual audio file is kept, and you can have that played. So there are different type of variables. So integer are generally used for numbers. Strings are used for characters. So for example, integer is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Basically used when uh, you know you need to you need to store and calculate or operate on any number. Strings are used when you have got set of characters. So one character is just like A, B, C, D, the normal character of the keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4. These all are characters. But string is the combination of characters. So you when you tie them together, it becomes string. For example, a letter called uh, quick, Quick, is a character. Brown, Brow, and brown is a character. A bottle is a character, or anything of that sort, which is a combination of letters, are called characters. So those are called strings. So those combination of characters, when you need that type of variable during the runtime of your call flow, you would use string. Character is just like I mentioned, that it is just one character, like A, B, C, D, and so on. Float is used when you have got your numbers in decimal format. For example, 102.567. It's a float number when you need decimal in your number. Long is used for the numbers, but it's different from integer in terms of the size of the number. Integer has got 32,000 and something, 32,200 certain number, wherein long is, uh, that's the limit for integer, 32,000 something. For long, it's you can use pretty big numbers like 1 million, 2 millions, and so on. Double, exactly, it is to do with the limit of integer numbers. uh, User is, for example, any user which is there in your system, uh, John Doe @abc.com, and so on. So there are so many options available here. We would use a lot of them when we go about. So variables are created, like I said, from this curved down arrow key, and once it's created, you can edit it from here or delete from this cross menu. Now this pane here is called the message pane, wherein uh, you could see what's going on with the script. It's basically to debug your script. It tells you if your script is written correctly, if there is any error message in the script, and it'll give you the details about the error message as well. So we'll see the utilization of this message as well. So just to start with quickly, let's build a basic script here. So for any script, you would see that there's always a start and an end uh, flag here. So the call would start and then the call will end. In between, you would process the steps. So I'll drag the first step, which is called accept. Uh, so you got to give your UCCX server the brain and tell precisely what exactly it needs to do when the call arrives. So you would tell, okay, accept the call. Once it's accepted, you don't need to do anything here, any changes here. The call would be accepted. Now UCCX has answered the call. If you do not have accept in your script, your call will never be answered, no matter how long code you write. And probably you would realize that you got to accept the call first before you could process them any further. So a good practice is that you define the script as well. What's the purpose of the script, or any comment that you would like to be added in the script. So afterwards, if anyone come in, once you've uploaded it, and someone tries to read your script, he could make sense. So once you got to just pull annotate from here and can bring in here. So I've dragged annotate. Now I can go to properties and enter any command. So I could say this is a test script with prompt or anything of that sort, and I could say apply. Okay, so now anyone who opens this would know that, okay, the purpose of this script is this. Maybe a more meaningful would be um, any command that you wish to add in here. uh, Customer name and Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., etc. All right, and maybe you could add the purpose of script here so that it's all right. So it looks good here. Now we accepted the call. And what do generally happens? What do you get when you call in a customer care and your call is answered? So you generally hear a play prompt, right? So you could use that from this media tab here, media options. Under media, you would see play prompt. And if you're not sure which category you would find your feature, you could anytime go ahead and search your step here, and you could find it in here. So for example, if you wanted to have a menu in place, you could just type in here menu and do a search. It'll give you under media just one result with menu, or if you have got more steps with the word menu, you'll see it here. So for example, if you wanted to search anything related to prompts, we'll just do prompt and then search. We could see, okay, we have got two results in the media and a couple of results in prompt category, and we have got under ACD as well one feature. So for now, we know that we got to use the basic one, which is play prompt. So we dragged in to the design pane. Now it's the time to customize it. So let's go to properties. So the type would be just as default. Interruptible is basically when the customer, while this prompt is being played, can the customer press any key to interrupt this prompt or not, so that the call proceed further. By default, it's interruptible, so let's leave it there. Let's go to the prompt, and here it would ask you to select the prompt that you want to be played here. Here exactly we want to tell that which container, which variable the audio file would be kept in for the customer to be played. Since we have not defined any variable here, we got to do that before we could just configure it. So let's go ahead and create a prompt here. It'll be called prompt type. Maybe we just say welcome or welcome and language or anything. The value is set to default, set to blank. These two braces, which are these two, if there is no value in, if it is just blank, it means that you could add that later on. For now, we're just initializing the variable by adding it in the script panel. I would leave all these parameters, all these functions, final array parameter dimensions, as blank, and we'll talk about what the parameter is, and we could probably utilize it later on as well. So let's have it checked here as parameter, and let's say okay. Now I have got a prompt created called welcome. So I can add another prompt here, or I can modify any existing prompt, or I can delete the variable. I'm sorry. So I can create a variable, edit the variable, or modify the variable. So since I see that the name of this variable is just welcome, it could be quite confusing if you have got tens of variables right here. So it's always a good idea to have uh, the variable type written in the end. So it would just give you a pop-up warning saying that modifying could, you know, result into discrepancies in your script because you may already have been using it in your script. All right, since we have created a variable here, I'm gonna go ahead and select the prompt that I just created and leave rest of the things as is. I can create a label which is for tagging purpose, and I can add a comment here which could say that welcome to abc.com, which could be the actual prompt which is being played out so that when the engineer comes in and reviews this, knows which step is doing what. So I've just added a comment for the for future use or for the debugging purposes. Welcome to abc.com. Though this is not going to be converted into actual audio, remember this is just a comment. The actual audio will be uploaded to the system. I would say okay. All right, so this is gonna give the customer a prompt, just like any audio file, whatever we record under, we pass under the welcome prompt. Now let's create a menu here so that after welcoming the customer, we give customer certain options. Like it generally happens that you create menu options, press 1 for this, 2 for that, right? So I could say it main menu and could say 1 for sales, 2 for orders, or 2 for technical support, 3 for complaints, 4 for operator. I could say this is the main menu and with the options. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead to the general tab, leave it as is. Now the prompts, we need to create a prompt trigger here as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and before I add this, before I modify this, we will need another prompt for this main menu. So I would choose again a new variable called main menu prompt. And the type would be prompt again. I'll choose the parameter and we'll talk about how we're going to use the parameters. For now, I'll leave it blank at the time of initializing, and I would say okay. I've got welcome prompt, I've got main menu prompt. So for the menu steps, I'll go ahead and click on its properties. Right click, properties. Now on the second tab, now I will see that my second variable that I just created, which was of prompt type, has appeared here. I'll say apply. All right, so I have not configured the connection types. Now it's asking me what all feature that I have. So I'll say the exact thing that we created over here. Okay, sorry, that was not entered. So I would say, all right, first for sales, right? And 2 for technical support, 3 for orders in the same. So let's add anything, right? Operator, and 4 for complaints. So now let's do which connection does what. What happens when customer presses 1, it'll go to sales, 2 for technical support, 3 for operator, or sometimes, or most of the times, it's 0 for the operators, right? So complaints could be 3, right? So complaints is on 3, operator is on 0, technical support on 2, sales is on first. Just to give it in a better way, I would have the sequence in place. So 1, 2, 3, and this is for the operator. All right, so we have selected the connection types. We have given the prompt. Now let's add in the comment. I would say main menu, 1 for sales, 2 for technical support, 3 for 3 for um, complaints, and 4 for 0 for operator. All right, so now we see that the moment we uh, created these filters and we said apply and OK, now we see a couple of switches that are created: sales, technical support, complaint, and operator. So great. Based on the caller input, we want some actions to happen right in these fields, right? So what do we want when the call comes to sales team? Let's say we want to play a prompt. All right, so I'll just go and say prompt here. I can just do a copy, and for each of the options, I would say play a prompt. Then we'll decide what to do. Uh, Timeout and unsuccessful we'll discuss once these 4 switches are configured. So let's say we just want to play a prompt here uh, to the customer for sales. Let's create a prompt variable here and say sales prompt parameter prompt sales prompt, apply. Okay. Now similarly for technical support we would need another prompt variable. Let's create one here, prompt, and then technical support prompt parameter. Okay, right click, properties, prompt, and then technical support. Now let's go to the third one here. Again, click on this tab here for new variable, go down, go for prompt again, and say this one is for complaints parameter. Say okay. It's also initialized, so let's have it here, prompt, and then go to complaints, apply. Okay, now let me just modify it because the name is not appropriate. I must have prompt in the end so that I know what I'm doing, right? Because the moment the script becomes very lengthy, you tend to forget what is for what. So it's always good that you define the purpose. Say what you do and do what you say. Right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and define what do I want to do when the customer times out, right? And what do I want to do when anything customer does and it's unsuccessful. So for now, I have got all my 4 switches defined, and we're going to do a timeout. So here comes the concept of label, right? And let me just give it a label here. This is called main menu label, apply. I would say main menu label. So we know that this label here, this step here has got a label of main menu. Now, if it times out, we can know that the customer has not provided any input, and it has timed out for maybe 3 times or whatever number we define under maximum retries. So, and we can also define how many seconds after which it will be considered to be a timeout. If the customer does not mention any input, it'll be timeout by default after 3 seconds, and maximum, the prompt will continue to play for 3 times. So let's keep it default and say apply. Okay, we have just added the label here. Now for timeout, we want to create another label here at the bottom. Create a label. You can also create a label, and sorry, I just don't want to do that over here. Just wanted to add label after menu step and say call handled, right? So I know that this is the end of the call, right? And I would go ahead and use a feature called go to, and I would say under timeout, if it timeout the customer is not really providing any input, I can just go ahead and send this call to call handled and say okay. So after timeout, the call would know that okay, I need to go to call handled label, which is in the end. And for unsuccessful, I could say for any technical reason, it might happen that the customer was not able to provide the input or something really crazy happened. So I would say go to main menu, right? All right, so yeah, so for timeout, go to call handled, which is right here. And for unsuccessful, go to main menu label, which will in return the call back again, and the caller will hear the prompt again. So, all right, and what you could do is uh, go to tools and click on validate. Remember, this is going to be very important step for any script that you create, even no matter if you create a small change or large change, right? You just need to basically validate the script here. So go to tools and validate. Otherwise, uh, if it's not validated and if the errors are not taken care of, you would always have problem. And when actual caller calls in that number, you will hear your IVR saying that we're sorry that there is some system problem. So after validating, we realized that we have encountered an error message which says play prompt invalid prompt. All right, so you can say that, oh, all right, I forgot to mention what's going to be the prompt under the operator one. So let me just quickly create one more variable called, for the prompt type, called operator variable, operator prompt variable. And let's say it's parameter, okay. Now I'm going to go to the property of this step and go to the second tab called prompt and select my prompt here, the menu. All right, let's see if we hit on validate what happens. All right, great news. So it says script validation succeeded. We're good to go. Now I can go ahead and save the script here. And I would save it on my desktop. I would say test script, and I would say save it on my desktop. All right, so the script is validated and everything looks good. Now it's time for us to upload the script to the system. All right, we are back to Cisco Unified Contact Center Express administration. Just wanted to refresh. We're logged in with administrator account, and I'm gonna go ahead and upload my script that we just created. So let the system come in. Since it was idle, I may have to log back in with my credentials. Let's see. All right, good news. We are logged in back again with administrator account using 12.5 version of UCCX. Chrome sometimes create problems, so the drop down menu sometimes appear very late or sometimes even not. So I would prefer using Firefox. Now it has appeared. So anyways, I'll just continue with Chrome. It took some time, but finally we are here. So I'll go to applications and then I'll go to script management. And once the script opens, we have got an opportunity here to upload the file to the contact center server. Alternatively, I could just while the page is being open, uh, had it been that we were logged into UCCX script editor, logged in using administrator and password, the admin account one, we could have saved this script directly into the repository. We could have got an option called repository, script repository, wherein we could have selected the folder inside the UCCX server and uploaded it directly from there. All right, for some reason it's taking some time. Maybe it's because of the browser or overall response time is a little slow here. Let me just use Firefox if that helps. Uh, just a second. All right, so our script is almost complete, but it's validated as well. But before we do that, let's touch upon how we basically uh, finalize the script overall. So we're gonna have this option called set contact info or call handled option, and then we'll go to properties, and under the second one for handled we would say mark, apply, okay. So now this call will be marked as handled and would not be entangled. Otherwise, if you do not terminate the call, if you do not mark the call to be handled, right? So UCCX would continue the call on a hold and would wait for certain microseconds. Each step would continue to execute. UCCX would be waiting until it would time out after certain microseconds. So there is a time limit that UCCX has. Uh, However, the ideal practice is that you do not let it time out for UCCX to wait for further instruction. You deliberately tell UCCX that yes, this is handled and now you can go ahead and terminate the call. Otherwise, unnecessarily, the runtime of the script would continue to utilize certain memory for that particular call, and that's not the right way of utilization. So imagine thousands and thousands call would come at any point in time if it's a big customer, right? So it's always a good practice that you set the call to be handled and terminate the call afterwards. So let's hit save here and validate, and you're good to go. So thanks for watching.